It's the greatest intro in podcast today. Let me tell you, wonderful work from Inside the Ropes gang. Welcome. I am Alex McCarthy, delighted to be joined by SP3, as you can see up here up top. Down bottom is the Inside the Ropes godfather himself. I'm glad you clicked on his angelic face to watch this show. What a thumbnail that is. How you doing, brother Kenny?
I'm good. I don't really feel good about my face being the selling point because that's that's like a Virgil meet and greet. It's going to be very sparse.
Well, that's our marketing plan, Kenny Mac.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about this today. I was like, see if I really wanted to get people watching this, I could just really give my real true thoughts on the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega with no holding back. And we would get so many people, but then we would also get the other side. So I thought, because it's funny, I don't know if you guys saw this. So I put this thing out last week. I'm not hijacking the show, Alex. I apologize for just taking it over already. But
please. So
the other week, whenever it was, and to clarify, I just don't really enjoy the Young Bucks matches. Kenny Omega a little bit. Sup, Safet. Safet, however you pronounce it. But anyway, Safet, there we go. So the Young Bucks put the return being the elite, and they had the thing where it was like panning around, it was all the music, and then it turned to fuck CM Punk, right? And I just retweeted it and went, these guys are executive vice presidents of this company, right? And I didn't think enough. I thought it's just a tweet, it's funny, whatever. And for 4 days, I could not get away from it. Like, it was everywhere. There was people, and there was points where I wasn't even seeing responses. And there was somebody said, "You're the owner of a magazine." I was like, right?
And
what does that have to do with it? But here's what I've noticed, right? There's two trains of thought. There's either the very pro Bucks approach or the very pro Cornette approach. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground in the middle. But the temptation sometimes is to go quite Cornette, but I'm not gonna. But just know that, see if we were in the pub. Oh, this stuff I could say. Because the thing that annoys me the most, right, is it's the idea that if you don't get it, if you don't get that style of wrestling, you're somehow an idiot. Like, you somehow don't have the brain capacity to understand it. I do.
Well, that's wrestling fandom 101, though. Like, you could have any take, and somebody will tweet you back saying, well, you obviously didn't understand or appreciate this part, and therefore you are dumb or ill-informed or whatever it was. I mean, I tweeted something once. I could do this all day, but a particular example was I was listening to a Conrad podcast. I can't remember which one it was now. I can't remember which little nugget of information it was, but I just tweeted out that I never knew that. And somebody was like, well, it was everywhere on the message boards in the early 2000s. What kind of journalist are you? And I was like, brother, I was 12. What do you mean? I barely had a computer when I was a teenager. What are you talking about? And that is wrestling fandom 101 on Twitter, I'm afraid.
We should be more like SP3.
It should have been his first port of call.
SP3 is just universally loved, universally liked, a nice guy.
Can't hear you. What's going on?
I hear him. I'm more in the middle because I've grew up, and appreciate the Cornette style of thinking, but I also regained my love for wrestling through more of the Young Bucks style of thinking. So I'm more in the middle. So I think that's why I don't get as much. But I did get people complaining at me because I got mad that the baby faces had the advantage in war games. So people will always get mad at you.
Here's the thing. SP3, you're the reason on Twitter I see more of that sort of really wanky Young Bucks praise. Do you remember? It's oh, did you see the nuanced way in which they captivated the style within the artistic integrity? You're like, fuck off, pal. It's a wrestling show. This is the same company that in one of their opening shows booked a guy with no arms and no legs in a battle royal. It's wrestling. It's all mental. But let's not act as if it's some sort of Daniel Day-Lewis thing. But anyway, I could go on. I'm not gonna. Sorry.
I mean, total sidebar.
I love it.
I was.
The storytelling that when they magically gave that callback to an episode of Being the Elite from 2010. Great. What were the other 900,000 of us that don't fucking get that reference? Or because we didn't fucking watch, because we didn't play Mortal Kombat 3 in 1996, doesn't mean we get whatever cosplay bullshit they're doing today.
They're basically catering to Matthew from Botchamania, essentially.
Good, I'm glad he's happy. I like
as
him.
much as I love Matthew. Yeah. I must admit, like before AEW, I didn't see that much of the Young Bucks other than, like some of the New Japan big matches and like a couple of Ring of Honor stuff. I've enjoyed them much more. Like I would consider myself a Young Bucks fan now, but I think I was just to kind of give an insight into the two sides of the fences that Kenny makes a reference to, right? I think I had a wall up before I started watching AEW though. Like, yeah, they're not that good, right? Like, and I think there's some people, and as Kenny says, you have two dispositions immediately with them, purely because of the rhetoric that's around. Anyway, enough of rhetorics. We are here to talk about Survivor Series.
I really want
to. Kenny!
I'm desperate to like them, right? Then they wrestle. If they just didn't wrestle, like that,
they're bad. Do you think they're bad?
No, I don't know. I think they're very athletic and they're very good. My problem is, it's like if you watch it, name a movie, any movie you want, right? SP3, give me a movie.
Anchorman.
Goodfellas.
Well, I've not seen that one, but Anchorman.
What?
I do need to. I know it's a whole.
Seen Anchorman. You haven't seen Goodfellas?
I've not seen The Godfather either. I'm a bad person.
Hey, Kenny, I'm shipping you some DVDs now.
To be fair, The Godfather is like 87 hours long, so yeah. Goodfellas is more like the shortened version of Good.
Maybe that's my introduction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's say in Anchorman, there's the moment where. I mean, that's a mental movie. I'm going to go with another one, right? Let's say you're watching a rom-com. Because I was going to make an example of it, but then it was like Will Ferrell takes himself to Pleasure Town, so the whole thing's absurd.
Yeah.
But say you're watching like, I don't know, The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, right? And it's just a shitty rom-com. Nothing goes on, and there's a scene in it where Ryan Reynolds has to take Sandra Bullock to see his parents, right? That's a bit in the movie, and all of a sudden. A giant goat that is like 300 foot comes out of the sea and just does this big song and dance routine, goes right back into the water, and the scene continues. That is a Young Bucks match. Because they will do something and it's like, you go, oh, wow. And then they'll do something completely different. And then you'll think it's the finish. And then they do 10 more moves. And it just, and you can't like, it's hard to keep up with what's happening.
I wouldn't personally describe them as that. I describe the Young Bucks and their evolution as the Fast and Furious series. They started off very simple as just like cosplay, younger version of the Hardys and Rockers, kind of like Fast and Furious 1. Then they started like trying out new things. They had their Generation Me thing in TNA. Then they just started doing the high spots on ROH, started getting more attention, kind of like the third and fourth version of the movie. Then they had their era where they actually did psychology. And Matt had a back injury for like 4 years. That's like the Fast and Furious 5, 6, 7. And then sometimes they get into the 8, 9, where it's just nothing but big moves. It doesn't make sense. And it's the stuff that Kenny describes.
That's a much better description than me.
Listen,
sorry, Alex.
Both of you shut the fuck up about the Young Bucks now, right? That is it. The Young Bucks is closed. You've both had a say. I'm delighted you did. Welcome, everybody. This is Monday Night Live, would you believe? As I mentioned at the top of the show, it is I, Alex McCarthy, with SP3, Kenny McIntosh, the Inside the Ropes triumphant in living colour, every Monday, 9 p.m. here on ITR Clips. That's where you can find us. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And do get involved in the chat. I've seen a lot of familiar faces that I'm always fun to see thus far. We saw Safet, however he wants to be called, earlier on. Thomas Lippiat says, I live for Kenny Shade. Well, you'll get plenty of it here tonight, brother, so get your fill. CM in the house once again. Always enjoy her takes as well. Who else have we got going on? Oh, it's Double A 96. I think he's just chucking films in. And A Shock. Hey. We all want to say hey as well, Shock. What's going on, brother? Thank you for those of you that are joining us. If you have any questions throughout the show, do let us know. The live chat is there for a reason. But we are going to be diving into Survivor Series what we saw there in SP3, we delving out some of his esteemed star ratings. And then we might even jump into some Blackpool Combat Club developments that we saw last week. It is very interesting because, of course, Regal being in the news as well, War Games, he only signed a 1-year deal, etc., etc. We will see how all the ripple effects of everything that's playing out on TV right now might have down the road. Before that, any orders of business? SP3, why don't you tell the people? Because we always do this at the end of the show, and I think, man, tell the people where they can find you this week and what you got up to Survivor Series weekend on True Hill Heat.
Yes, there's a lot of content on True Hill Heat for Survivor Series week. We did a preview last week. More importantly, you can check out the roundtable review. If you don't want to watch the whole show, just watch us talk about it and watch me rant about why babyfaces should not have the advantage in War Games and why the babyfaces in the men's War Games, spoiler alert for our review, are all dead as doornails. So check that out. True Hill Heat.
There it is. You know what? Before we get into Survivor Series, in the Inside the Ropes magazine this month, I'm going to be writing about the people who could or should dethrone Roman Reigns, who should end the historic reign. Kenny, any other Inside the Ropes projects you want the fine people viewing the show to know about coming up?
Well, first of all, SP3, I would love to be invited on True Hill Heat at some point to give some of my... Because, like,
we would love to have you on.
Hang on, the
would be at home, right?
How has this not happened?
I've never had an invite because, like, Alex always tries to shut me down, right? He always shuts down my stuff. He always wants me to play. Do you remember that time when I said that a certain wrestler had the charisma of a lamppost? He almost shat himself. Like, it always happens. Whereas if I come on with you, I could just go full pelt. There would be no repercussions. So I would like to do that if you ever fancy.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're gonna talk.
So I actually got a good haul. I got a WrestleMania 7 bumper sticker.
Sweet.
I bought that in Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, but no, Inside the Rope stuff. I just interviewed.
How much did that set you back? I'd love to know.
$10.
That's $10 well spent. If you ask
actually,
me.
it's from like a photographer's personal collection or something.
It's like £7-8. Yeah. Easy money. Easy money.
Although, no, what I also got was, I mean, since you're asking, you didn't ask that, but hold on. What I got was a bunch of SmackDown Your Vote.
Wow! Like it was yesterday, the year 2000. Incredible.
And then, what's the other one I got? Hold on. A couple of no-holds-barred fridge magnets as well from the Hulkster. Just a good time. Anyway, when I'm not
just remembering The Rock being like a super puppet in that era. SmackDown, your vote. The Rock's at conventions and shit.
When he went to the Republican National Convention.
Like, you wouldn't see The Rock stand beside Linda McMahon at a political rally today, let me tell you that. But, the Inside the Ropes thing, I don't think I've said this anywhere actually, but for the next issue of the magazine, I spoke to Eric Bischoff, and he had some very interesting stuff to say about what's going on in wrestling today. He actually had some stuff to say about Tony Khan that he specifically was like, I don't want to bury him. I don't want to like call him a money mark like I did 2 days before. So he was like, but he has some really interesting stuff to say. I also quizzed him about something that's always bothered me or always interested me, which is why TNA signed the Nasty Boys in 2010. So I asked him about that. So yeah, that's some stuff. And yeah, we've got lots of stuff going on.
I spoke to Eric Bischoff once. I think I can't remember if I was giving me Sport or Talk Sport, but I interviewed him for like an hour, and
he's great.
I had a similar like nagging question that I wanted answered, and that was when when Triple H was made the world champion in 2002, and it was just handed to him, right? Like they did the brand split. Brock had the title on SmackDown. They were like, "Fuck it, let's give the big gold belt on Raw, and we're just going to put it on Triple H." And then obviously in his promo, he said, "Oh, if I could have took anybody from WWE, like if I could have took anybody, and we would still be in business." And he was saying this about Triple H, and I said, "Your words or someone else's?" And he was like, "Fuck no, wasn't my words." It was like, "I don't think that at all." And I was like, "Oh, right, well, there you go."
That's why they pay you the big bucks, McCarthy.
This is it. Prize it out of them, Kenny. Exactly. There you go. Speaking of which. Speaking of big bucks, Tony Khan is on the Inside the Ropes channel now, isn't he, Kenny? All 2 parts of the interview are over there. So when you're done with us, make your way over to Inside the Ropes or at some stage and give Tony Khan a watch. I know a lot of people seem to go, oh, he dodges a lot of questions, but he is quite open about a fair bit of stuff in these interviews. So make sure you go and check out what Tony had to say. Although I couldn't force him to tell me when the UK shows are. I'm sorry.
There's a great moment. You should go and watch those videos, by the way, because Alex does actually get some stuff out of them. But there's a great video of him on like Barstool Sports where like it's him and the interviewer like beside him, and like the interviewer is like talking to camera, and as the interviewer is talking, Tony Khan's just with like a cup of coffee, not a pint of vodka like I've got, but he's just sitting going.
Just doing what he's got to do.
And the guy stops going, are you okay? He was like, I'm just really enjoying myself. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
Yeah, I said to Tony, like, we have to do it again. You know, like when you're over in the UK, we'll do something in person. And he was like, I would love that. And I was thinking, I don't know if you would, but you know, I'll try and hold you to that best I can.
Can't believe a word that comes out this
exactly. I was thinking, God, he's working me. And I'm totally buying it.
Wait,
listen.
Can I ask one question before we go in? Because I know you've got...
Yeah.
Where's Hook?
Well, he defended the FTW title about a couple of weeks ago on Rampage.
I don't watch Rampage.
That'll be it then. I mean, I've got to tell you, apart from that, he hasn't done much. Like the Danhausen stuff kind of came to a halt a little bit. Danhausen's had a bit of a repackage, but well, not a repackage, but you know what I mean. SP3.
Get Hook on Dynamite. Like Hook could have been the poster child for gay men and women. Like
he's electric.
Yeah,
he is.
But, you know, he's on Rampage beating up Bear Bronson. Like,
yeah, who did he actually fight on Rampage? I can't remember.
Lee Moriarty.
Lee Moriarty. He's good though, but he's a good wrestler.
Is he?
Well, he's a good wrestler.
Yeah, he is. He's a good wrestler.
I know what you mean. He's got. I couldn't tell you what his character is, but he's a good wrestler.
Oh, he dyed his hair.
It's Frank Ocean. Yeah, he's Frank Ocean because he dyed his hair.
There you go. Anyway. But yeah, you're right. I must say, before that, I had thought to myself, fuck, I haven't seen Hook in a while. He's not been featured like he was. Anyway, Survivor Series. For those of you that have tuned in to get our star ratings and thoughts on the show, we're going to start with the main event because that's what everybody wants to talk about, and we'll work our way backwards. Probably spend less time on some of the other matches, but the main event, of course, does... It gets our attention. It got everybody's attention. The Bloodline, Sami Uso, the storyline that is, in my opinion, the best storyline in wrestling right now by a distance. All the possibilities that seem to be unfolding. But the new wrinkle of Sami, I'm going to keep calling him Sami Uso. I'm doing it. Sami Uso and Kevin Owens, right? I don't know. Kenny kind of used storytelling as a buzzword earlier, but I'm going to use it again. The storytelling actually in this match for me was fantastic. I've been very open with Kenny before, where I'm very much like him in the sense that I'm more about the entertainment aspect of wrestling. Like if there's just two people going at it, not much in it for me, but it's all about the story and the characters. And these two, of course, with all their history, to intertwine it with the Bloodline storyline and such a strong character as Roman, right? Like Roman orders Sami into the match early on instead of Jimmy Uso, right? You got to go in there. He's got to win over Jay. And then it was the low blow on Kevin Owens. He stops the count with the referee. All of the things that Sami had to go through, it's like a crescendo in the match leading up to the haluva kick. And, and then we get the moment at the end where Sami kind of feels like he's really accepted. I thought the action was great. I've seen better war games. That's a whole nother topic we can get into, the actual notion of the match and how they're meant to play out. Yeah, I'm sure SP3 and Kenny can dive into that. But the story remains strong. That much I will say. It's got as much momentum as ever. And we've got to remember, it's been going months at this stage. And it's still as hot as ever. And we're just heading to Mania season. Man, where do we go from here? Kenny, what did you think of the main event and where do you think we're going?
I do just want to sort of tack on to what you said. And my whole thing about storytelling is that I think great wrestling matches are a beautiful thing, but I think that the story outside of it has to play into it for it to be that complete package.
Yeah, it's not just working a knee, is it, Kenny? You need the characters and what they're going through.
Unless it's like Bret Hart and Owen Hart and you kick the leg out of his leg. I'm just referencing some 28 years ago because I'm old. But,
as you should, though. That's a great example.
So I have been very vocal within my Inside the Ropes podcast and stuff that the War Games concept for me is a struggle to get through just because I actually only watched in full for the first time this year the Wrestle War 92 War Games with the Dangerous Alliance and Sting Squadron, and that is perfect. It is the most perfect War Games match you'll ever get. And
Correct.
The reason that it's perfect is because it takes 20 minutes, I think, I could be wrong, a minute or two, 20 minutes to get everybody in, and then everybody's so knackered from being beaten up for 20 minutes that it takes like 5 more minutes for it to finish. And it's just this frenetic thing, and it's boom, 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 boom. And the WWE ones, it's like it takes 29 minutes to begin, and then it starts for like another 12 minutes or whatever. And I think that I'm just going to spoil what I think. The women's War Games match did not need to happen. And I will never watch it again unless I'm at gunpoint or being waterboarded, because there's sun shining outside. There's movies I've never seen. I've still not watched The Wire. Should probably watch that before I watch that War Games.
Probably should.
Nothing to do with the women in the match. All worked really hard. It has nothing to do with them. I just don't think the feud necessitated War Games, right? But with the main event, the compliment that I'm taking, 10 miles to get to, is that I think that the Sami and Bloodline stuff was so good that it was worth sitting through the whole match. And there was points, even from like when the Bloodline came out at the beginning, and there's just like Drew standing in his pod going, and you could see him in the background. He's like, they all want to get to the Bloodline because they've all got history with them. There's the Sami and Bloodline stuff leading through the whole show. So all that gave you little nuggets through the match that made all the kind of generic stuff feel more meaningful. And then that last 10 minutes was like chef's kiss. Like, just, it doesn't get any better than that kind of storytelling. And the key of why I think it's so good is that Sami Zayn turned on Kevin Owens, but he didn't do it in a way that he became a heel.
The facials, right, where he's like, his hands in his head, and he's like, oh, I really didn't want to have to do that. But he had to.
All playing into what he had to do, and it all sets up all this stuff. I think it's the best storyline that WWE have done probably since the Summer of Punk. And because the Authority Daniel Bryan stuff was kind of like they were forced into doing that. And even the Summer of Punk stuff, it lasted like a month, and then it was gone. Like, this has been months and months and months, and we don't even feel like we're at the peak yet. So I thought this was just like top-notch stuff.
I thought Kofi Mania was electric at the time, but I don't think it's as maybe as intricate or crafted as this story is. Like,
that's another one they were kind of forced into.
Exactly. It's more of an organic, like, okay, well, this is where we're going. They've actually kind of taken us on the ride here, and the performances have like kind of twisted people, and like Sammy's got over. And I think Kenny hit the nail on the head, with what calls for a match, which is ironic because Triple H is out there in the press conference after, and he's talking about, well, the pay-per-views, and okay, Hell in a Cell, maybe we don't need that as a pay-per-view, right? Maybe we don't need it. But some of them we do need, like a Money in the Bank, for instance, or whatever, right? But it did feel like here that the Bloodline going in here with a lot of people that have a lot of gripes with them after 2 years of running Rudshot over the place did make sense. Did the women's really? Like, what was there grounds for that to really go to I mean, Becky's return was pretty cool, but other than that, it felt like, again, they were filling a quota where it was like, okay, well, we're having War Games at this Survivor Series, so they both need one. It kind of defeats the object, I think, a little bit of what Triple H was saying in that press conference, if you ask me. SP3, what did you make of it?
And a lot of that comes down to Triple H booking Damage Control as Damage L, because that's what they are. They're not even controls. And the CTR, they just take L after L after L. Like Sheamus says, banger after banger after banger is Damage Control. L after L after L. They're losers. There was no point of that War Game, so I 100% agree with Kenny. As far as this one, the men's War Games, I think Sami Zayn comes out looking like one of the biggest stars that if they didn't have The Rock in their back pocket coming for WrestleMania 39, at this point, I would be making the case for Sami Zayn to be the Royal Rumble winner and to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He's been on that much of fire, and that final 10 minutes of the match was superb. It was just the storytelling, the facial expressions, the body language of Sami Zayn were just on another level, and that's why it hit, and that's why it would be remembered for years to come. Although I would disagree with y'all, I thought the action in this matchup was boring. Like, nothing happened for 28 minutes. I literally was like Roman Reigns sitting on my couch like, is something going to happen? Like literally, it was the little bit with Sammy and Jay at the beginning when Roman tells Sammy to go into the ring, and you could have took a nap for 20 minutes. Like the format of this War Games sucks. 3 minutes? 3 minutes in between intervals?
3 minutes.
How are you supposed to be? How is it supposed to be entertaining for 3 minutes? And like I said at the beginning, all these baby faces are dead as a freaking doornail. Kevin Owens is the best one that came out of this, and he lost. He took a pin to not Roman Reigns, not Sami Zayn, not the two guys that come out of this match looking the best. He lost to Jey Uso. What? And he's gonna be the number one.
Jay.
But
that's main event.
He's gonna be the number one contender for the Universal Championship, and they're gonna have one person believe Kevin Owens is gonna win. Nope, that ain't happening. So he's dead too. Drew McIntyre felt so hot going into Clash of the Castle. Y'all were both there. What happened? He was even in the match outside of looking at the bloodline when they came out. Did he do anything in the match? I don't know. Sheamus felt on fire coming out of Clash at the Castle. The whole build up to this match, it looked like they were positioning Sheamus as the next contender for Roman. Was he in the match besides doing the 10 beats of the Bowery with 4 other people? Like there was, I am just dumbfounded that I had to sit through 28 minutes to get through great 10 minutes because there was nothing that mattered in the first 28 minutes. The match only mattered when Roman got into it. So I think the format in general, like Kenny was kind of getting at, is just totally messed up. And that's why neither one of these War Games were as good as the NXT War Games, let alone AEW.
Wait a minute. If you want to talk boring, the NXT War Games can step on up because they were.
I will take last year's Black and Gold versus 2.0 over this. I'm sorry. I would take that over
I don't think the actual, I wasn't bored, right? But I concede the point that the format doesn't lend itself at all to because again, like, and Kenny made this point earlier, you are pretty much sitting there thinking, okay, well, it's only really going to kick into gear when Roman gets here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing, right? Just like, okay, well, you know, everyone can park it until then. Nothing can really happen. So I think that always does work against it.
Keep it interesting. And the biggest issue I had with both War Games is that they don't know how to book baby faces in War Games. Why are the heels always taking out the weapons and getting the pops? Like, what is going on here? And then all those, and like I had an issue with the baby faces winning the advantage match on SmackDown. So I was already going into this match with the issue. But I was like, you know what? If the baby faces get a pop when they come into the ring, then I'm wrong. Did any one of those baby faces outside of Kevin Owens with the faintest pop because he was dressed as Dusty Rhodes, did any of them get a reaction when they come out the arcade?
Kevin Owens would have got a pop anyway, you know.
But nobody got a. If you have 5 baby faces and only four of them get no reaction and one gets a pop, that's an issue.
Breaking SP3 is something I've never sat and experienced live. It's been very fun. You've turned into me. It's like I'm rubbing off on you. It's perfect.
Look, he's got a whiff that you're going to come on the show, and he's just unloading now. He's like, you know, this is my guy. SP3, we need to give it a star rating.
Notwithstanding, I said the last 10 minutes can save a match.
Is 28 minutes of bad foreplay worth the last 10 minutes?
Well, this is it, right? Like, people will remember the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm going to give the match 4 stars.
Ooh, I thought you was going to go 3, if I'm honest.
No. I'm not, like I said, I have an issue with the baby faces have the advantage. I have an issue with all of the baby faces not really doing much outside of Kevin Owens. So none of the match really mattered for 28 minutes. Have those issues. Notwithstanding, the last 10 minutes is a 5-star match. But if you have a 1 star in the opening half, so kind of evens out.
Let's jump into how the news correlates to what we've seen play out here. I believe it was wrestlingnews.co. I think that's what they are. And they're saying that it's Zayn and Owens versus the Usos at WrestleMania, right? So clearly between now and then, Elimination Chambers in Montreal, right? Seems like that would probably be the place they'll beat the fuck out of Sami Zayn, and then we're off to the races.
The story seems to be Rumble, Owens and Reigns, Elimination Chamber, Sami and Roman. And then the tag match.
Yeah. Well, this is it, right? So it was originally thought that Sheamus was going to be the next challenger for Roman. But, again, they're now saying that Kevin Owens is going to be the guy at the Rumble. And as you say, then Sammy's going to maybe step to the plate. Not sure how we get there, I guess, with Sammy or where the beatdown occurs, or, you know, and then you don't have him win it in Montreal. It's going to be a bit strange, but then Roman's going to be going off to the Rock at some point. There's a lot. There really is a lot that's going to happen. And then Cody's going to be back at the Rumble, presumably, probably the favorite to win it. Like, there's a lot of different things that are in play that we're not obviously. I mean, it's great that we don't know how it's going to shake out, but you know, again,
I think they're gonna have the Royal Rumble winner face the United States champion at WrestleMania. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I think they set the precedent. I just thought about that. I was like, yeah, because if Cody wins the Royal Rumble, he ain't versus Roman Reigns on the second night of WrestleMania. That's for sure. So unless Roman wants to work both nights, Cody winning, he might as well go after, put the title back on Seth. Finish that feud. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I don't know what Cody will do, because I think we all said like a few months ago it was a shoe-in, basically. Come back, win the Rumble, and then if Roman get him on one night, go after the title. The thing with the Cody character is that is it, right? He's made it very clear, like, you know, I need to win the thing that my dad didn't. So you can't just kind of pivot from that. Like it's all or nothing really for Cody.
This has got to be one of the most anticipated Royal Rumbles ever, because you have so many people who are going to be involved and around in both the male and female divisions, and it's going to set the scene for what they do for WrestleMania. But here is my one piece of advice. If Uncle Paul's watching this, you know, he might be, you never know. He's got people everywhere. But like, if he is, there is one thing that they need to make sure to be so careful about, and that is, if Sami Zayn is not going to win the Royal Rumble, do not put him in the match. If you put him in that match,
they'll hijack it.
Or he will get eliminated, and then if Cody comes in, Cody will end up taking the brunt, just like it happened years ago. But I do think Triple H, you know, SP3 said earlier that, you know, damage control, which is totally right. They are the biggest flop of the Triple H regime so far. But for the most part, he has delivered on good story, kind of logical stuff that's going on. And I think he understands wrestling. So I don't think he's going to fuck it up. So I'm hopeful. But like, if you look at, like, I mean, you both brought up, you know, Sheamus as an example. Like, Sheamus was so hot coming off Clash at the Castle. And it's like, he either kind of has to go for Reigns or Gunther at this point if he's on SmackDown. Like, what else is he going to do? So you have to find something for him to do. What I would do is give Sheamus a big TV main event against Roman Reigns for the title, have him almost be about to win, and then whatever his thing is next, that person costs him. Like, because you can do a thing where it's like, the Bloodline are banned from the ring, and it's like, yes, he's going to win it, and then whoever his next opponent is, you know, costs him, and that's how you set up that. But I think you need to do something with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, get him on Raw, just find a loophole. If Stephanie McMahon can bring Booker T out at Rebellion 2002 and say, we're going to trade, then Drew can go to Raw.
I wouldn't be surprised if Drew and Sheamus ended up a team, to be honest. I know that the Brawling Brutes is a thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if you insert them into the tag division, and, you know, there isn't like a big burly team like them in there at the moment.
That could be something for them to do over Rumble season.
And they just beat the tag team champions, so they should be in line for a title shot, at least like a big TV main event. But I think Drew for WrestleMania, it's Gunther. I think he stays on SmackDown, and that's the match. That's the match, because that's the one big baby face he really hasn't touched or even teased at. And hopefully it's not Braun Strowman ending this Gunther reign. Please, dear God,
like, to me, I feel like we might be getting Gunther and Brock at WrestleMania. That's the one.
Nah, they're doing Brock and Bobby. I'm telling you this on
crazy
for that. I would, but
if it's Brock and Bobby, like, I've seen it. It's done.
Do that at the Rumble. Do that at the Rumble.
It's basically the Goldberg booking. From what I was told, when the match was made for Crown Jewel, the person that I know and Alex knows that works there was like, that's strange. I thought that was going to be WrestleMania. And then we watched the finish together, and she was like, you see?
All I'll say is card subject to change. Like,
I mean,
it's November. They can change stuff between now and then. Like, but here, I do want to pick up on one thing that SP3 said. So say Cody is the favorite to win the Rumble, right? Say Cody wins the Rumble. There is no way that they're just going to do Rock and Reigns and that's it. there's going to have to be a night 2 somebody faces somebody. They're not. There's too many people for them to just go, okay, Rock and Reigns, they're the world title, and everybody else has to deal with everything else. So I don't know what they do, but I think we're in for something where it's like on night 2, the Rumble winner faces the winner of night 1 or something. So I hope they do.
Look, I mean, the reason I brought up this from
WrestlingNews.co.
No. The comment from Safet was, it would destroy the importance of the Rumble if they didn't follow through and make that a world title, a main event basically of one of the nights.
Remember the year that Charlotte did the NXT title, and it was
yes. I was just about to say that. I was like, come on, guys. They've had someone cash in on the use their Royal Rumble opportunity for the NXT championship. And they ruined the importance of Money in the Bank and King of the Ring. What makes you think they won't destroy the importance of the Royal Rumble?
I mean, they've done stuff to the Rumble before.
Is SP3 and AEW's payroll? I'm sensing it here. All this
he has been.
I'm in fact, my kids get fed off of WWE payroll. Actually,
you better remember that, SP3. That heating you've got on right now, that smells like
You're stepping out of line if you're honest.
Cost 11 crisis not in your house. All that Saudi money. Anyway, sorry.
Papa H. Right. We've pretty much delved into that and where it's possibly going to go, but 4 stars is where SP3 slates the main event. While we're at it, let's jump into the ladies in their War Games matchup. This limped towards the match anyway, but it opened the show. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, Becky Lynch. That is just a clusterfuck of baby faces. Like no real common thread between them at all, other than Bianca Belair and Becky have respect for each other after their series of matches. That's pretty much it. Like they literally just came together to fight another team that doesn't make much sense because you've got Damage Control, but then Nikki Cross recently reinvented, and then Rhea Ripley just inserted on the end of it as well. It really was just it didn't have the advantages of the men's match that had so much story and history attached to so many different people. And I mean, it's not that some of those women haven't met before, right? That you could say things, but it just wasn't framed that way. It didn't have the same momentum. Kenny, what did you make of the ladies opening the show and their War Games outing?
I actually did think in the build-up that some of the build to it was good. Like, I liked the idea that Rhea Ripley got in the heel team because of how the babyface team was stacking up. I like that. I like Nikki Cross reverting back to more of a crazy character. But, this didn't need to be a War Games. If I had to live the rest of my life never seen another War Games match, I would be happy. I would live a fulfilled life. But unfortunately, that's just not how the universe works, and it's just going to give me it forever. But the thing is, like, I understand the idea. Like, the idea of equality is supposed to be that, like, everything's fair and, like, people get a equal time to shine. And I think that this idea that every year there has to be 2 of everything, so women can get 1 and men can get 1, it's just not working out. Like, one year there might be a women's feud that's big enough to get a War Games. Like, say it was 4 horsewomen and 4 horsewomen from a few years ago. That, if it had been a story, could have been a War Games match. This year it's Bloodline and the baby faces. But I think they just need to pick one and just have it be one match, whatever one it is, because this went on for 40 minutes. Now, if I don't want to watch Omega and Okada for 40 minutes and they're fucking, the aces of the storytelling wrestling, then I certainly don't want to watch this lot. I mean, the best part of the match, and I when I say I'm 100% gay, I mean it. I could not get a hard on in front of a woman if you paid me $1 million. It would never happen. It physically cannot happen, right? It just can't. However, what I will say is Rhea Ripley doing her little her stuff in the pod. Good luck, gents. Enjoy yourself. I can appreciate that for you. That's all I've got to say.
You're muted, Alex.
You're muted, Alex.
Sorry, yeah, but probably for the best. I was just thinking of the reverse of Kenny's situation, then, like me trying to get hard, like in a gay scenario, like willing it to happen for $1 million. I'd give it my best goddamn shot. Let me tell you that.
Let's will it.
Just close your eyes, please, please.
Think of it.
Yeah, well, this is it. What a notion. Yeah, SP3, walk us down this match and give us some star ratings. The one thing I will add to this that I said earlier, I do think Cody Rhodes is probably going to return and win the Rumble in January unless there are some plans ahead that I cannot foresee. I do think Rhea Ripley is going to win the Rumble for the women.
I agree. I 100% agree with that. Thus, why this finish made no freaking sense unless Becky Lynch is going to win the Royal Rumble just to face Ronda Rousey again. That's the only thing that this finish makes sense. Like, I was like, Rhea Ripley needs to win this because, one, Damage Control can finally win something. But I had no faith in Damage Control actually winning. But someone on their team could get the win, so they get a win by proxy, and it would be Rhea Ripley because that's the person that it seems like they're pushing and gearing up to be a challenger for Bianca Belair. But I mean, Rhea Ripley, she stood out a bit. She got misted. She put Mishin through a ladder. There was a lot of spots. I like spots. They had a lot of spots. They had Nikki Cross do a cross body off the steel cage. You get it? Cross body. They had Io Shirai get no air on that moonsault and go straight down on Bianca Belair and Mia. That was awesome. I love that. I love that part. So there was stuff to be enjoyable about this, and I'm probably the high man on this match. I give it 3 3/4 stars, honestly, because I'm at the part of not freaking caring that Triple H does not like Damage Control. And I've heard every excuse of, Bayley's at this stage of her career where she probably wants to put people over. That's all fine and dandy. I don't want to see it. Put that on NXT. Put that on NXT Level Up. I don't want to see her just lose after lose after lose and then be presented as a threat because she's not. They are damaged L. That's all they do. They take L after L after L. You would think that they're doing this to build up the tag team. That tag team champions got stacked up and pinned to end the damn match. What are we doing?
What are we doing? I mean, you say that with Bayley as well. Like, I mean, it's not.
You know what I think you should do? I think you should walk out right now of your house and not take that money anymore. That's what you should do. You should make a stand. We're shills. We have to acknowledge tribal chiefs. We have to say, not call people out in their bullshit. But you can take a stand right now. You can get that headset, shove it down, leave your family.
Yeah.
Just
we'll live vicariously through you as well. Like, we'll make the stand through you. There he goes. Thank God. Thank God there's some morals on this show.
Thank God somebody's got some balls on this program.
Oh, no. There you go. I mean, you made a real point in that 7 seconds.
That's the 5 seconds.
Got to tell you.
You tried.
My missus said, get back in that room. You got to make money too. So.
Get back in there, boy. I mean, 2 things on that. One, I guess they didn't want Becky to lose on her return. That just sounds very WWE-ish. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying it's that hat, SP3, that WWE hat coming on.
I know.
Saying Becky's big comeback.
And I realized it late. Like, I picked a Team Damage Control to win because I was like, you know what? They can't do it to me again. They can't do it to me 3 pay-per-views in a row. And he did it to me 3 pay-per-views in a row. I'm done. I'm not
gotcha.
Damage Control.
That's what he said.
He fooled me 3 times. 3 times in a row. You know why? I blame all of y'all. Because y'all told me when I snapped, not Kenny and Alex, they're fine.
I didn't tell you shit. I could have told you they were fucked on day 3. You didn't need 4 months.
No, they told me after they lost at Extreme Rules, lost that crowd jewel, they was like, oh no, it's just for them to win at War Games. War Games, that's where they're gonna win. And nope, we ain't even get that.
I was excited for Bayley to come back too, man. I was really excited for it. I was thinking, what a great injection. This is going to be... Nope.
Matthew, it's a double vodka Diet Coke in a pint glass. That's the drink. Last hour, unlike me.
Well, you know what? We talked about it earlier a little bit. You mentioned Ronda Rousey and potentially Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch making her way back to Ronda. I do personally think somehow, some way, they're going to do that. We are going to end up with Becky versus Ronda. But boy, Ronda Rousey's limping right now. That is not. I know Ronda's your girl, SP3. I know this very well. Even
Dump her. Get rid of her.
Even you cannot be defending this run at the moment.
No, I cannot, because this is the end of the WWE Premium Live events, and Ronda has been on quite a few of them, and she has had all of one good match on a Premium Live event, and that was with Charlotte at WrestleMania Backlash. Other than that, they have been very missable matches, and this match was the worst match of the night.
Oh, I mean, like, I guess it's a lot to expect her to lead.
Do you guys know what happened on the bump earlier on the day, on Saturday? Did you guys see Shotzi on the bump?
No.
So this is bad. I'm going to laugh through parts of this, but I don't mean to. So Shotzi apparently in real life lost her father this year, which is very sad.
Ooh.
And on the bump, she was dedicating winning the title to her father. Now, look.
And they said that on commentary too.
Yeah. My mum, right, is my favorite person, right? And if my mum dropped dead tomorrow and I'm put in the ring with The Rock, sorry, I'm not dedicating anything to Big Fiona.
Yeah, you know what's happening.
Because Big Fiona would come back and haunt me to fuck if I made such a stupid call. I mean, Shotzi Blackheart, she can do one thing successfully, and that's say, spin the wheel, make the deal every October. The end. And then Ronda Rousey, I mean, she's got, it feels like Stevie Wonder does her eye makeup, right? Because and she's got someone she brings in special. I mean, there's shopping centres across the country where there's people for £1 that could do it better. But I spoke to a wrestler about this, actually, about the Ronda Rousey situation, because I was like, I've spoke to so many people, and we all kind of like, why is she so rubbish now? Like, why is she not any good? And the answer that I got is that she is very complacent now because she doesn't have to be the way she. Like the first time she had a point to prove, she had to be good. Keep up. And now it's like there's no impetus. Everyone's probably just telling her how great she is and how great she is in the ring. So like, there's no reason for her to have to improve, and that kind of makes sense.
I mean, she had on that first stretch as well. She had good dance partners, right? Like, and I don't want to throw.
She got a good match with Nia Jax, Alex.
Yeah, she had the best Nia Jax match ever. Like that Ronda was a revelation, because like Kenny said, I 100% agree with Kenny, and I've said it before that Ronda had a point to prove. She wanted to shut people up from the MMA and the wrestling world. So she had two people going against her, and she had a point to prove in 2018. But ever since she's come back, it just feels like she's in Brock Lesnar 2016, 2017 mode. I have a couple of things I'm going to do, but I don't really care that much to impress y'all.
She probably never wanted to. I mean, she had a 3-year deal, right? And then after the first year, she goes away and has a baby. So then I guess they park the rest of her contract. She probably doesn't want to come back, right? But like, you know, it's easy money for her in many ways. So she's obviously well paid for what she has to do. I can imagine there's a multitude of reasons why she might not be motivated. And again, no shade at a Shotzi or a Liv Morgan, but I just don't think, and there's nothing against their abilities or whatever. They just didn't mesh with her though. It happens, right? No matter how good you are, they haven't meshed.
The thing is, I am going to say one thing about that though. Shotzi and Liv Morgan should by now be in a position where they can lead a match.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are not able to do that. So that part needs to be something they need to take ownership of like, you've been wrestling for a long time. You should be able to, like, you know, because Ronda's only been wrestling for a year, really. If you look at like the full of wrestling.
I'm not a full one, really. She wasn't working all house shows, right? Like she did some.
But like, Ronda needs to be in there with people who are very experienced. And unfortunately, you know, Tamina is not going to cut it. Dana Brooke is not going to cut it. Liv Morgan, I mean, because the Shotzi thing is kind of a repeat of the Liv Morgan thing, right? The underdog against
pretty much.
Ronda Rousey. Did anyone think that Shotzi had a chance against
Ronda? No. But I mean, again, with these kind of matchups, and this is something WWE does to us. Like, okay, here's an example. We know Roman Reigns is buying time till he faces the real person who's going to either dethrone him or The Rock, right? We know Kevin Owens isn't going to dethrone him. We bought into Drew, I guess, briefly, just given the circumstances. But anywhere else in the world, we wouldn't have thought Drew was going to beat him. We haven't thought anyone was going to beat Roman for about a year. But if the ride is good, right? Like if the journey is fun and you enjoy it, then it's okay being able to telegraph the ending, right? As long as the means to get there is entertaining, it's worthwhile. With Ronda, again, I don't buy any of these challengers beating her. We know she's kind of just biding her time until either Charlotte comes back, because don't forget that's where Charlotte got written off. So as a natural jump off point.
But here's the thing, like, to what you're saying, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, let's use them as examples, right? They're going to face Roman Reigns, and I guarantee you that at least one of them will get us to bite for a near fall. And we'll get us
they will, because they're good at it.
The nail in the head, because they're good at it, because they can get you to do it. So if we're going in there and we're doing the underdog story, and we don't think we can even get one moment where the babyface is going to have a moment to make the fans think they're going to win, then it's not going to be a success. You're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah, but exactly. And that's why Roman's reign, I always hate doing that kind of wordplay, has been what it is, because generally they've given him people that can make it work, right? There's not many where it's like, oh God, like Roman had to face this guy. With Ronda right now, she is buying her time until either Becky or Charlotte, WrestleMania, whatever it is, her next big feud. We all know that, and it's not good enough what we're seeing in between. Now, if there is one person that could bring that electricity back for Ronda and you get the character in the right place, it is Becky. I still believe that was the hottest women's feud or potential feud that I've seen in recent memory, right? And there's been great chemistry, but the electricity around them two, that is a proper WrestleMania match. But I'm still worried even now. Like the way things are going, I'm a bit like, are people still going to be here for it?
I think the real elephant in the room that not a lot of people want to address is the SmackDown Women's Division sucks. It just sucks. It's the bottom of the barrel. Like, look at the women in the Women's War Games. For all the nitpicks that we got about the Women's War Games, that's the Raw Women's Division. All of those women. Like, why can't SmackDown get a crumb of talent that you've been bringing back, Triple H? Triple H is addressing all these issues and problems that Vince McMahon had in his regime. He had to take the Money in the Bank off of Austin Theory because that wasn't the person that did. Well, you could have kept it on him and just done the story of him going to next year's Money in the Bank. But he's addressing those problems, bringing back Hit Row, who just feel like they've been here for 87 years, bringing back all these people for one reason or another, but he's not addressing the biggest issue that he has is the SmackDown Women's Division has no talent. You want to hear the list of people Ronda Rousey's faced on pay-per-view outside of Charlotte Flair? Elimination Chamber. She teamed up with Naomi against Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair. Money in the Bank. She faced Natalya. Liv Morgan at 3 straight pay-per-views. Shotzi Blackheart at this pay-per-view. Like, what are we doing for Ronda? We're not helping out Ronda. We're not putting her in there with ring generals.
And here's the other thing. When they brought Raquel Rodriguez to SmackDown, who was a badass in NXT, they had her lose to Ronda in the first match. And now she's doing that weird Stepford Wives thing that Alex is doing, the weird smile. Like, Raquel Rodriguez is someone who was so good in NXT. And now she's just like teaming with all these rubbish people. No, I'd almost rather watch the Young Bucks.
Almost. SP3, give me a star rating for Ronda.
Almost.
A star.
A star. Give me a star rating for the triple threat between Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley, where Austin Theory's renaissance, which, don't say it quietly, has been quite enjoyable, continues, and he has reclaimed the United States title.
I think that they've done a really good job with Austin Theory over the last 3 weeks, and this match delivered. This exceeded expectations and arguably was the match of the night with 2 War Games matches on this show. This was arguably a match of the night because of how over Seth Rollins was. He felt like he was on fire or going off of, the energy of that Boston crowd. Austin Theory, he looks strong and has this whole different character that brought a lot to this matchup. Bobby Lashley's just this world beater who just can destroy any anyone at will and put a hurt lock on 2 guys. I give this match 4 stars. I think it really delivered.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a big fan of like Lashley and Rollins, and I do think that, you know, Theory's got the pieces. His character's fucking annoying, and then obviously there's that kind of mud against his name, but the pieces are there if you're just looking objectively as like one of your next big pieces. If you're a wrestling company, what is he, 26 now, 25? Guy's jacked as a motherfucker. He actually has got some good charisma, good looking bloke. Like he has a lot of the pieces that people would look for. And I feel like Triple H has flipped the switch in a direction that more people at least can get behind than where we were. So step in the right direction for me, for Austin Theory. Who knows what the ceiling is? I certainly wasn't ready for him to take a world title off anyone though. So shit how they got rid of it, but at least they have. Let's talk AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Kenny. Again, a few years ago when these two met impromptu, it was fantastic. What did you make of this 18 minutes, 25 second encounter?
I really love Finn Balor's sort of chicken shit heel character. He really makes me laugh. Like he's just you want to punch him in the face. Like it's just so good, right? AJ Styles.
First win in,
Please,
what was it, 10 pay-per-views, I think it was?
Please leave. Please leave. Just leave.
Wow. I'm going to stand up for Kenny.
Alan, you and look at your old pal John Cena. Listen to his words. Your time is up. It is done. Like he retired the Undertaker and gave him this great send off at WrestleMania in 2020. He had that brilliant triple threat ladder match with Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy. Then he had, and I love Edge. This pains me. Their match at WrestleMania was Night Nurse.
Was not good.
It was Night Nurse in a match form. He's now teamed up with the OC, who, like, the problem is, it's like, it'd be like a broken Matt Hardy was still around today and he'd been kind of like half playing the broken character for like 5 years. Like the whole idea of like the club and the original club and the Bullet Club and all that stuff, like that was 5-6 years ago. Like nobody cares anymore. So now, as good as it is, they're not pinning Carl Anderson every week like they usually do. I have no interest. And AJ Styles it's done. It's just let's go home, lads. There's no point.
It was just sad. Like his stock has fallen so tremendously, and I don't mean like the equity he has with us as fans. And I think it's
they put him in there with so many people.
That's what I'm saying. It's the opposite. We all hold him in such high regard for what he's done and what we know he can do. We watched him for a fucking year, like try and help Omos become something that, you know, resembles a wrestler, and then he got absolutely jobbed out to him in an effort to put him up. And then what did Omos do for like 6 months? Fuck all. So for a lot of us, we're sitting there going, Jesus Christ, like AJ's been on Raw for like the past year, nowhere near the title picture, just getting fucked over by some good mate. Like there was just,
2 years.
It was too long.
To be fair,
too long.
His performances and his sort of like what he's given do not make him deserve to be in the title picture. Like if what he's doing to the mid card, because here's the thing, like when he had that Nakamura series in 2018, it was dire, absolutely dire. All their matches were dire. And it was like, I was excited because one of the rare New Japan things I ever watched and I loved was the IWGP match with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Exceptional, 10 out of 10. They never replicated it in WWE. I just think it's like it's gone. He's becoming Dolph Ziggler.
Ooh, that is a great comparison because I do feel that level of empathy, and and this is coming from someone I view AJ Styles as one of my all-time favorites. He's one of the best of this generation. I got to see him on Fox Sports Net back in 2003 on TNA, and then got to see him at WrestleMania live in New Orleans. But it seems like that is kind of the pinpoint for me, is that Shinsuke Nakamura series in 2018. Somewhere or another, we lost the great AJ Styles in that. Like, he was still great. you know, he had that phenomenal, amazing stretch from coming in 2016 all the way to the Royal Rumble match against John Cena in 2017. That was awesome. Then he had a lull with the whole Kevin Owens US title bid and Shane McMahon.
I thought Shane McMahon at WrestleMania was good.
That was great. That was great. That was great. That was great. But I'm talking about the Kevin Owens AJ Styles US title feud. That's it. That was and then he got back to getting great matches. Had a great match with Balor at TLC. Had great matches on TV to the point they were like, all right, we'll choose you to end this Jinder Mahal reign of terror. And then he was having a good run with that title run until he had the opportunity to replicate Wrestle Kingdom and failed. That feud failed. Samoa Joe and him, the greatness that they achieved in TNA, they weren't able to replicate that in WWE.
Don't you dare desecrate the good name of Wendy Styles.
Oh, that's the only memorable part. They had like 4 matches on pay-per-view, and no one remembers any of them. They remembered Samoa Joe.
I'll remember Wendy for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like again, he kind of brought it back round when he was lucky enough to put the Undertaker away. Well, not put him away, or be his last opponent.
But it's been like blips ever since that Shinsuke Nakamura feud. It's been like blips. He had the Boneyard match with Taker. He had that great triple threat, like Kenny said, with Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy. He had a great match in the Thunder and the Empty Arena Performance Center with Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental title as well.
One thing that the AEW get a lot of shit for, and I think it deserved a lot of the time, is the idea that like you're just like, oh, here are these really good wrestlers, we're going to put them in matches, and none of it means anything. And you know, like Jay Lethal, right, is a really good wrestler who is always wrestling, but like you still don't really get anything from him. I feel like AJ Styles is kind of like that now. He wrestles a lot, but we get no character stuff from him. He doesn't really. I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like he's phoning it in now. He's just phoning in the.
He has talked about retiring for ages, right? Like he keeps saying like, "Oh, it's my last contract, and I don't know how long I would." You know, he hasn't been shy about that. But I just feel like the Omos thing really killed him. Honestly, like he was kept out of the picture. He was.
But that's so much potential, the Omos thing. If they had like followed it up and made it more interesting, like him being the chicken shit with him behind him, there was so much stuff there, but it just never went anywhere.
No, it didn't. It certainly wasn't like the Diesel Shawn Michaels we initially hoped for at all. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, so what did we land on a star rating for that match, SP3, to close out this pay-per-view?
3.5 stars. It was a well-worked match. It would have been a great TV match, but on a pay-per-view, it was just like, I'm not going to remember that match. And the finish came out of nowhere. I was like, did I miss something? Like, he just hit the phenomenal forearm, and that was it. And it was based on the booking of Finn Balor. It was just like, shouldn't have Edge come out here and distracted him, at least to set something up for him? Like, I don't think he got anything out of this thing, and I don't think AJ got anything even out of beating him.
Fuck knows what Edge is going to be doing. Anyway,
we're going to get Edge and Beth against Rhea and Dom.
That's what.
Can I just say, I want Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley to come out and fuck in the ring. That's where we're at now.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
They should be on top of each other. Give us the sleaze that we want with them.
What should have happened, Kenny, when they went to the Mysterio household, right? And they did the video, and I saw everyone on social media going, "This is great. This is great." And it was good. Like when Ray was down and out, they should have been kissing and fucking rolling around on top of him.
They should have said, "We're going upstairs to Mom and Dad's room."
Yeah.
After they beat him up.
Although
they should have took that to the next level.
Props to the guy or girl who was doing the editing, and they blurred out Ray's face on the family photo. It kills me. It was so good. That segment was excellent.
In the home straight here, guys, just the last 5-10 minutes. If you do have something you want to ask us, or you have some comments to make about what we've discussed tonight, any of that good stuff, get it in the live chat right now. Ultra chat, if you are feeling ultra generous and want to support this show, do get your thoughts and opinions in. Questions about wrestling, questions about anything, as Matty the Hot Scott did earlier with Kenny's double vodka. Get it in the live chat, and we will try and get to it as we close here, because we are going to close on William Regal. Now, we saw on Dynamite, Regal open up the show, kind of didn't really justify why he did what he did, but he said that we'd hear from MJF next week.
Moxley comes to the ring, looks like he wants to kill him. Daniel Bryan comes out and does. You two might not agree. I thought it was some horrendous acting from from Bryan Danielson personally. I did not enjoy it. I liked the rationale that he eventually arrived at when he started, talking about how this man and his dad and all of this stuff. But originally I just thought it was shite. So
I really am rubbing off on you two. My God, the two of you used to be,
I text my friends in my group and I said, "Has anyone seen the opening of Dynamite?" And I was like, "What the fuck is Danielson actually doing?" Like that first 5 minutes to me was really cringy. Again, it got there in the end. And then obviously Moxley says, which was kind of badass, like, "You better just get stepping, don't ever come back." Regal leaves. I have no idea how that's going to play out, right? I don't know if Regal's going to be by MJF's side. If you ostensibly, I don't think Moxley can actually fuck up Regal at this point. He's got health problems, perhaps, or he's not cleared to be in those kind of situations, which is an issue in and of itself. There's another layer to this, right? Would be coming this week, where Dave Meltzer says Regal only signed a year deal.
He actually
correct himself.
Yeah, he corrected himself.
Did he?
It's a 3-year deal.
A 3-year deal. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I think Tony would let Regal go if he wanted to go, but who knows? Do we think now that Triple H is in power, Regal would have second thoughts and want to depart?
Yeah, 100%.
From my chat with Regal, I got the impression that so once it wasn't in Triple H's hands in NXT anymore, he understood why he couldn't exist there anymore, right? Because a regime is one thing and Vince wanted to do things differently. He understood why such a pillar and someone that all the locker room respected and listened to, you can't have a previous voice if you're trying to do something new. You understand? Like, it's like any line of business. It becomes difficult. That's basically what Regal said.
And from what I heard when Triple H came back and he realized that they'd let him go, he was not happy.
Yeah, fuming. I heard that.
So angry that had happened.
Exactly. And I think Regal being able to go back to his previous perch and recruit for WWE and kind of nurture those careers. I know he can do that in AEW to an extent if should he want to, and he's kind of I've really enjoyed what the Blackpool Combat Club has been. But SP3, man, I mean, do you think that allure of working with Triple H again, probably I think he said is one of the happiest stretches of his career. I don't know. It's gonna linger over, maybe.
Oh, definitely. He's probably going to have the thought of going back, working with Triple H so closely, someone that he's known for, almost like 4 decades. So they have like very close relationship with one another. He was able to help out a lot of different careers while he was in WWE, but I don't get to see any of that. All I see is him on NXT. And I'm sorry, me personally, as a wrestling fan, I prefer the options of him in AEW. It sounds more interesting than just him as NXT GM or Raw SmackDown GM and just saying War Games once a year. It's not worth it for me. It's not worth just once a year him really having something memorable to do.
I'm sure Regal's going to go, SP3 just doesn't want it.
Yeah, of course. He values my opinion.
I'm just going to have to fuck it off. Right. Kenny, while you think of a fuck, marry, and kill to close the show on, there we go. Matty loves Sid's rants. We don't call him his shoot name on this show. Come on, man. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, man? Who's Sid? Don't even know who that is. Blasphemy. I actually agree with this from Ace. Just give me Ripley and Phoenix one-on-one. I would watch that, but I think at WrestleMania it is the tag. ML Drums, I think it's his first comment of the show, says, who would win a fight between Paul and Barry Chuckle? I assume... Hang on a minute, Kenny. I assume this is going to go over SP3's head. Is it? Do you know who these people are?
Can you, by any chance, SP3, Google the Chuckle Brothers right now?
Please do.
Let me do that now.
And just give us your thoughts on the aesthetic appearance of the Chuckle Brothers.
Why does that sound so funny to me?
No, it's good. We're going to wait.
What?
Yep, that's them. I mean, I think...
For the record, isn't Barry dead?
Yeah,
right?
Paul's going to win because he's alive. So, unless Barry
Barry,
can come
sorry,
back
son.
from the dead. Well,
Why
but
do they look like two Hector Guerreros?
They were child TV stars. SP3.
I think this
in
is
the
maybe
UK.
the first time in history where the Chuckle Brothers have been compared to Hector Guerrero.
You've
maybe heard it here
That's fucking
The
great.
gobbledy chuckles.
That's great.
but I was going to say for the Rhea Ripley and Beth Phoenix thing, they could always, and I think it's a good option, is if they do Edge and Beth against Rhea and whoever at Rumble, I would bring Beth back for Chamber. Get Beth and Rhea 1-on-1 for Chamber. Get Rhea the big singles win, hopefully en route to her going and facing Bianca Belair at WrestleMania.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like that very much. Kenny, come on, mate. Hit us with the question of all questions.
Okay. Well, look, I understand why everyone thought that CM Punk was an arsehole because, people who wear t-shirts wanting to protect women's reproductive rights are really bad. But I'm going to give you, for your Shag, Marry, Kill, I'm going to give you both of the Bucks of Youth, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, who love their Christianity. And
do they count as one or singular?
No, they're separate.
Okay.
And Mr. Kenny Omega. So you've got all three of the elite, and just think it through. Look at it. They're all going, oh, who the fuck do we want to marry?
Yeah, Jesus.
No. I know exactly. I think this is easy.
Right, okay. What reason?
Go on then, SP3. Go on then, you go.
I would shag Kenny Omega, because he can go long. I've seen him go 60 minutes. I need a 60-minute man. I don't need no 1-minute man up in this piece. I would kill I would kill Matt Jackson because he has some acting and facial expressions, and I don't want to see how he looks when we're having sex. And
how many times do you think Matt Jackson would fake his climax to you?
And I'm pretty sure he's really good.
No, he would do that and he'd be nowhere close.
Yeah.
He's making all these little movements and stuff.
Yeah. He's like, I'm coming. Or am I?
Exactly. So yeah, I'm killing Matt, and I would marry Nick because he's a good Christian boy and he's athletic, so he make it interesting in the bed.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna be Kenny's Kota. I'm gonna marry Kenny. Listen, we have gaming interests. Okay, like
how is that going to matter when you're fucking him?
We can listen. You asking me to marry? I need to stay the course of this man when his body shuts down and he is not going to go ham anymore, and we're sitting there playing video games. Right? That's it with Kenny. I feel like Kenny would appreciate me. He's a sensitive soul. God, it's really hard to differentiate the Bucks for me. Gonna kill Nick. Something about Nick's face that makes me pick him over Matt. God, no, I guess I'm shagging Matt. Like, just by default. My must feel terrible for him. Like, we get to the bedroom, he's like, you didn't really want me here, and I'm like, you're here. Like, had to kill your brother. Default fuck. It's not great. It's not a good atmosphere, but it happens. All right, there you go.
You're all welcome for my influence on this show.
I was a journalist once. Right.
I've never claimed to be one. So
no, there you go. As we said at the top of the show, guys, True Heel Heat has been busy this weekend, so please make sure and go back and watch their great content. And what you got coming up, SP3?
It's coming up tonight. We got our Monday Night Raw watch along, Rated Raw Superstars. So join us over there, 8 p.m. Eastern time for the watch along. Got NXT watch alongs, Dynamite watch alongs. I'll be back on there on Thursday with our Dynamite review at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. So subscribe, True Heel Heat YouTube channel.
Tremendous. And I know for Inside the Ropes, hopefully I've got a couple of interviews that you'll be able to see on YouTube before the end of the year, and we're going to ramp it up heading to Royal Rumble season. The plans are afoot. Kenny, any plans towards the end of the year, beginning of next year? Are you starting to plot some more live shows?
Potentially. I mean, I would quite like to bring Regal back and hit some cities we've not hit yet. So that's probably a plan. Maybe been discussing the idea, maybe bringing Bret Hart back over because people always want to see Bret.
I've never met Bret and I'd like to. So come to London. How about that?
But yeah, because they're the plans right now, and there's a lot of other stuff going on with the magazine and the website. And there's a lot of stuff, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's great stuff. And while we're at it, SP3, say his name.
Whose name?
Say his name. The man who's killing it in Impact right now.
Oh, I believe in Joe Hendry.
I want to give a quick shout out to Joe because I've enjoyed so fucking much of his stuff and the videos that I've seen on social media. And I feel like we haven't touched on anything like that. And Kenny talks about all the good stuff going on with Inside the Ropes right now. And that Scottish tingle in my brain went off for Joe Hendry.
And I said, "You fucker, right? Every day I walk around my house. I believe in Joe Hendry. Every day, all day. I can't get out of my head. From London to Paris,
to Paris to Tokyo. It's such a banger. It's such
his shit-eating grin is what does
exactly.
it for me.
And he's the digital media champion. So shout out to Joe for sure.
It's very funny to me that like we've like traveled around the UK with What Culture shows, and just it's very strange to then see him in that cinema. I mean it's so good. It's and it's great to see an original song. People are talking about Impact finally. So
I just love the way he pops his head out and he's like straight away, big smile, and he's fucking jacked as well. By the way, he's huge these days. Oh, Joseph! Congrats, Joseph. Keep your thing up, brother. Keep your thing up. Very.
That's a good message for all of us. Keep your thing up.
Keep your thing up.
If you can.
Especially when you've got an awkward fuck with the Jackson you didn't kill. Keep your thing up. I think that will do it for Monday Night Live. We'll see you 9 p.m. next Monday. Everybody, have a great week.